Today's guest is a good friend of mine, which means this conversation is probably going to go completely off the rails a few times over, and we could possibly end up anywhere. Julia Green is quite frankly a powerhouse. Founder and creative director of Greenhouse Interiors, interior stylist and contributor for some of the biggest publications, both locally and internationally, writer and author, public speaker, brand ambassador, TV host, consultant and content creator. And somewhere amongst this insane list of accomplishments, she's also managed to be a wife and a mother to two beautifully gorgeous boys.
Like there were no words. They would stand there and it's like it was ethereal for them. They felt like they'd been transported to some other land. And I used to just watch their faces. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about that. It's a privilege to move people like that.
Okay, my gorgeous friend, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Darling. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Amazing. Now, I know that it's sort of been largely written about, talked about and discussed, but for any of those, we'll just quickly touch on it that don't realise that you came from a drug sales rep.
Yes, but legal ones. Let's put the legal word in there. Otherwise, people will have all sorts of connotations of me at the back of the boot with drugs.
15 years ago now?
Yeah, 15, it's actually 16 years ago. Yeah, feels like another lifetime.
Well, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's another whole entire chapter. I almost feel like it's somebody else's life.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. The more guests I have on and the more conversations I have, I feel like it's quite a common thread that anyone who is really chasing their heart, putting themselves out there, following their dream, living in their passion, has come from quite a different past. Whether it be ag science to makeup, chef to lighting designer. There's so many different incredible career shifts. And I guess even me, I mean, fashion to interiors isn't such a big deal, but pub and, still just big shifts. And I wonder whether part of it is this innate drive in us for change and for, I don't know, something that creates passion.
Yeah, pace. And I agree with you, but I don't know that it's always linear and that you know what your passion is right from the start. So I've always been a passionate, determined, dedicated person. They're qualities that are just always within my DNA. Yeah. So really, whether I ended up selling drugs, doing what I do now, interiors, or ended up a zoologist, it wouldn't have really mattered what I became. What would have transpired is just the same level of energy and dedication and passion thrown at it. Yeah. So I think in life there's a lot that happens by chance. I don't think we always underestimate the power of the sliding doors moment.
I think that's massive.
I think there's a lot of chance in life. There really is. But I think it's your aptitude to know when that sliding doors moment comes. Yeah. Are you going to jump on the train and go that way, or are you going to jump on the train and go that way? And it can be a split second that can be the decider. So I think, careers are really interesting because they do take twists and turns, and yet then you meet some people that have been the same thing their whole life and still like it.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I wonder whether I'm envious of that. I mean, I could never do it. So I'm happy with that. Yeah. But I also sometimes wonder if it would be really nice not to have to constantly layer and jump. And I mean, you are incredible with what you've taken on in your universe. It's never been enough to just be the country's best stylist or author or writer or contributor or online retailer, TV host. Like it goes on and on.
You make me sound really impressive and I'm actually not.
You're my mate, so I think you're impressive because I know more about you than the business that you are. And I said it in my intro and I'll say it again. You are more than your business in the sense that you have always championed people.
Yes.
You have always believed in people. You have always given an incredible amount of time in people in your industry, surrounding industries and other industries. Yeah. And wherever you can help, wherever you can lift up, wherever you can make someone else's experience both personally or at work better, you choose that path every time. I've been on the receiving end of it my whole life since I've known you. You have always backed me. You have always believed in me. You've always put me forward for things. You've always championed me. So I know you more than most in the way that you have shown up for me as a friend in dark days, the way you have always put me back, in the front of perception and in the marketplace. I'm forever grateful about that. So when I talk about your career and saying that you're amazing, I know you're amazing, but it isn't easy to pivot, shift, jump. Like, I know how hard you work.
Yes, yeah.
It didn't come to you.
No,
You
it didn't
work
fall
really
off the tree
hard.
and just kind of plonk, land in my
No.
lap. It wasn't like that.
And every time it's got hard, or every time one pathway or door has closed, like you say, in these sliding door moments, you pick another one and you don't just go for it. You go for it.
I know I'm crazy like that, but that's just who I am, Jess. Like, I can't change that about me, and sometimes, like you were saying earlier, God, I wish I was more stable and, more solid and more reliable and just on a straight path. But that's why I married the opposite DNA pool to mine, because we somehow, most of the time, even each other out. But yeah, it's I don't know, life's funny like that, isn't it? I mean, you're explaining me as the way you see me. I'm like, I'm just like that all the time with anyone. I mean, you're my friend. Of course, I will always be here to help lift you up. But I just think that's what you should do in life. I'm not really
But it's not the natural state for a lot of people, and it's certainly not the natural state in business in Australia, or necessarily in the way that I feel like we do have a bit of a tall poppy syndrome sometimes in this country, and I do feel like we don't lift each other up in business enough. There's always kind of this undertone that it might be detrimental to your business, or it might take your customers, but it's just not the case. There's always plenty of work for everyone, and there's always plenty of opportunity for everyone, and actually we can all really help each other. But we don't do enough of it.
But you're relying on people that have a degree of self-confidence to back themselves. So if they're going to feel threatened or competitive, it's often nothing to do with you. It's their own lack of belief in who they are. So it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, I'm obviously aware of competitive tension in my space. I understand there are people that do what I do, but I really 99% of the time don't give it any airtime. Like, I'm just in my lane going a million miles an hour, thinking and looking straight ahead, because if I get to it, I'll literally fall off the rails, because it can be that derailing if you listen to all of that negative noise around you. I've definitely
especially if you have a big heart.
Yes, and if you're sensitive, which I definitely am. Look, I'm a relatively good human to most people, except for ChatGPT. He's copying the wrath of my language of late, or she, whoever ChatGPT is. But with humans, like, we all have hearts and feelings, and I'm respectful of all of that. But yeah, it's it's a funny one. I just feel like if I take my eye off the prize and not be so focused on what's in front of me, I won't get the end result. So I just, like, it's like I've got fingers in my ears listening to my own circus music.
Your own song.
Because it can be so distracting listening to anything else. So I make my own positive ground, to get back to your point. I make my own happy, joyous path by surrounding myself with people that I'm happy to lift up and support. And I'll be really honest with you, it's taken me to get to nearly 55 to say now, if it's genuinely not a two-way street, it's see ya. It's ciao ciao, because I have not got a finite amount of energy, and I've had to work that out. So many sacrifices to give life what I give it. There's other things that life isn't getting from me. Yeah. So I only now are prepared to jump in and go that hard with the people and the things that I see are mutually reciprocal and helpful to the both of us. So I'm careful where my energy's going now, whereas I used to just dish it out willy-nilly.
Yeah, and I think there is always a danger when you move so fast, and I've definitely fallen on this sort many times, to miss some of those signs and some of those little universe things that pop up that you probably in hindsight should have seen, but you're going so fast you don't.
100% agree with that. It's like our spidey senses.
Yeah, right. And we as the world gets busier, as we move faster, and as we have this endless push, everybody. And it's not just at work, it's at home, it's the kids, it's everything. Yeah. I think there is a tendency to stop listening to our intuition and to stop listening for that feeling, and sometimes it's too late. But I do also think it's really important that we, as we get older, and it's definitely an age thing.
I think it is.
It's definitely.
Your bullshit factor's just really, it's taken a hammering. Like now I'm just so boringly blunt. Like, I used to fluff it around the edges with some niceties, and now I'm just like, no. That's not good enough. I don't like it. Yep. And this is why, and this is how we're going to fix it, and then I will be happy. Yeah, I sound like I'm being such a taskmaster, but I'm very clear.
You're not also, you're saying that in a way now that probably makes it a little bit blunter than it actually is. But the point is that we have to be, I think.
Yes.
If you want to hold on to what you're true to, if you want to hold on to some space for yourself and your family, which we've sacrificed a lot of time with our families.
100%.
To do what we do.
Yep.
If you want to hold on to that, you have to learn to drive. And it took me too long to do that.
Agree. Me too.
And we have spoken about it a lot over the years. And we're actually quite good at pulling each other up too sometimes.
Yes.
Like, hey, have you had some time off lately?
Yes, I know.
But Minnie, my daughter, for anyone who doesn't know, my daughter Minnie, who has spent a lot of time with you, loves your family to bits and will often find herself at your kitchen
tomorrow
table.
if you let us.
She has, like a lot of the younger generation, much better boundaries around what they are willing and to accept and not accept right now. And I find it fascinating.
Yes.
I wish that at 17 I had half the ability she does now to say no.
I know,
No's
it's amazing.
never been a really good word for me, but it's been one of the most important words to learn.
Well, maybe she saw that from you. Like maybe that's the thing with busy mums or busy dads or busy people, that when their offspring get to watch what happens when things are really that crazy, they learn the hard way that things have to be reined in. There have to be boundaries or it's off the rails. And that can be very much the case. People like you and I get very carried away in a moment and very carried away with the end picture of what we expect it to look like. And I'm not just talking visually look like, but how it's going to feel, how it's going to look, how it's going to change the way people live in their space or whatever it is. We've already got to the end when we've left everybody else right at the start. So we're running that fast and that hard.
Yeah, so true.
And we're leaving all these people behind us who are struggling to kind of catch up to us.
Or even understand what we're
and
jumping
they just see it as we're just a runaway train, just out of control. And we are, but there is kind of method to our madness. So maybe Minnie has looked at that and thought, you know what? I've been around this mum of mine long enough to see the shortfalls, and I'm just going to pick up the reins and take control here. Yeah, and good on her if she has. I mean, she's an extraordinary human, so she would do that. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Of all of the pivots and changes that you've done, I mean, it's not just the styling, it's not just the editorial writing, the online champion selling of brands, interior design, tours.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years in Morocco.
Yes. This is the last year we do Morocco. I'm actually meant to be on a plane for Mexico next week, but now that Mr. Cartel's been shot, I'm not sure I'm getting on that plane. So we'll soon find out. But
about that
it's pretty dangerous. We've had the messages from the government saying, not a good time to go. So that may well be on the back burner. But 2 trips left to Marrakesh and the rest of the world to see. So watch this space.
That's really exciting, isn't it? And those tours, explain to everyone where that came from. Like what sparked that?
It was a really random conversation with somebody where they'd been on a tour that was really awful and wasn't well managed, and it was sold to them as a luxury tour. And the conversation just went from one end to another, where I said, by 20 minutes later, we should be doing a tour.
So 2 tours every year for 10 years?
Yes, yeah. So
you must have some amazing friendships over there.
Lovely. Look, honestly, it's just been the most crazy experience because it is a true life indicator of, like, pretend I'm a magnet. It's like the people that I've attracted into this magnet are just now stuck to that magnet forever. Like, we have drawn in the most phenomenal groups of women and men. We've had a few men along the ride, and by the end, you know more about these people often than some of their closest friends. Like, it's insanely intense and intimate, and really special. So we all still have chat groups where people stay in touch like years later. There's reunion dinners. In fact, this year I had 2 people come back from a tour that they did Marrakesh with me 5 years ago. They said, I have to come back and do it again.
Really?
So it was their second trip, which is a real testament to like how special the trips are, because it's not just a trip, it's well beyond that. It's every touch point. Every single sense is appealed to. There is not one single thing these travellers need to do. The moment they step foot off the plane, they're in our little huddled wings and looked after, so that they don't actually have to make a decision for 7 days. Not one decision.
So wonderful not to make a decision.
Yeah, I don't know myself. I've never been in that boat. I'm always the one making the decisions, which is one day it will be my turn to go on a luxury tour. And have someone else decide everything for me. But for now, I do it with John O'Fleming, who's a really close mate. He's kind of an equivalent of you, but in Sydney. And we literally like Mar and Pa Kettle in bed every night, just giggling into the hours. He's fun, but he's beautiful, kind, sensitive, thoughtful, a beautiful host. The women love him, and I still think it's amazing that, you know, Jono's half my age, probably not quite half, but he's still the guy that opens the doors for all the women and helps carry bags to their rooms and just does it effortlessly.
Really good human.
It's just, it's a very personally touched tour. It's not just I'm going to Morocco. No. It's a whole lot more that you don't see behind the scenes that we share, and it's special.
Yeah,
they're good trips.
That's you and Jono's personality coming right through. You know, your decisions about who you want to be as people come out in your business and your tours, right?
They do.
So then you just can't help but open right up. And I think going there for such a long time and being so comfortable with all of the tour and all of the supply and the relationships that you have and build over there are friendships that last a lifetime, and everyone gets that amazing benefit of that. Right.
They do, but you're still on the tip of your toes. So don't get me wrong, 10 years in and you're thinking, oh yeah, it'll be like, you know, rinse and repeat, and it's not. Because if you go to far-flung places like, you know, Morocco, where it's still intrepid to a degree. I mean, we're going to very specific places. We're doing, you know, high-end home tours. We've got private access to YSL Gardens. You know, we do all sorts of amazing things that are very, very special, and we're very privileged to do it. But you could just walk out one street corner and someone could have everything ripped off their arm, and we literally have a security detail basically the whole time. And it's not because it's that scary, but it's just because we want our people that travel with us to not have to think about it. We've done all the thinking of every single part of that tour that you could slice and dice. There is nothing for them to worry about or think about other than what's on their plate. And in fact, Jono even does the ordering of food, and just this smorgasbord arrives and they're like, oh my God, you know, what am I cooking for dinner? Oh, what ingredients do I have? We already know their dietaries. We've studied them. We order within minutes. It's just like a seamless luxury tour.
It looks very fun.
You're coming on one soon.
I am.
I'm dragging you by your ears. If you're not coming, I will drag you.
I actually have to come because I can't have missed 10 years and not come with you. That would be really ridiculous. It's just that thing where you know.
Well, this is life, so you've just got to book things in. This is my new thing this year. So, and it's, again, you know, it's taken me, 54 years to figure it out. But if you don't put it in the diary, it doesn't happen.
I
know that for sure. Like we're already running to the next train station, you and I. Like we're busy. Yeah. So if you don't put those things in the diary, life will just slip you by. And it has slipped me by for the last decade. I've had zero life. And I laugh about that. Shouldn't really be laughing. I should be like rocking in a corner. I'm that tired. I'm that strung out by it all and all the decisions that, you know, that's not healthy. So now I'm really trying to put pause points into my life wherever I can. And they can be tiny little things like I've carved out 1 hour of exercise for myself every day. I'm now a Pilates junkie, and that has been a game changer for me. But I've never done that before. I don't know why. I can't actually even tell you, as one of your close friends, how happy this makes me, because as you know, I was like that too. Yes. And 2 years ago, I went, fuck this. Literally, and stripped it all back and really changed it. And I mean, I was doing the morning thing a bit earlier than that, but that was the catalyst to do the rest. Yes. But I couldn't agree with you more. Like, you do blink and there is regret for me about certain things I've missed,
and sometimes I haven't had a choice because of my situation that I've been in, but it is also my choice.
Yeah.
Every single thing that's happened, every single thing that I choose is my choice. So there has become a bit of an awakening around that. And
100%.
You are absolutely right. I've also got a new thing being an ADHD where I can't just put it in the diary. If I have to do something and it comes up then, I actually just have to do it then.
Yes.
So I'm not saying like I have a really strict diary now. So every day is mapped in blocks, and I am so like my diary is insane now. Not necessarily with even all of the work that has to be done, but even blocks of work that needs to be done, or every exercise session or every breathwork session, or everything is diarised in colour coded.
You're next level.
It is so next level, my diary. And so now I'm quite disciplined at that diary, and I do not break. So if I'm sitting down for an hour and a half for that, I will not answer my phone. I will not check my emails. And I used to dart around like a nutbag in that space.
You get nothing done either. Blue ass fly stuff.
Totally.
Crazy.
So don't do any of that anymore. But now if it's sort of like after 5, never before 8, because I am such a morning, like hold on to my mornings.
Yes.
Or on the weekend, or if I've got to do something for the kids, or I've got to sign them up for basketball, I've got to do something, I will do it right then.
Yeah.
Because I've decided that if I don't do it right then, it will be 3 months.
Yeah, I know.
If it ever happens at all.
I understand. You're speaking my lingo, yeah. But, it's interesting. You mentioned before, regret. And I think that's an interesting word when we look at our life and our careers too. I mean, regret is just not helpful. No. You did the best, and I've done the best we can both do at all the junctures, at all the points in time with the situations we've been faced. We've made choices, like you said, to the best of our ability. Were they the right ones? Not always. Did we get some right? Absolutely we did. We've had some really good wins. But someone asked me that recently, if you could wind the clock back and do anything differently. And I'm not saying it to be cliched. No, there is one thing I would do differently, but I can talk about that later. But I still don't hold regret with that. So most of the decisions I've come to, I'm just understanding with myself as to why I've come to them. I did it with the best intent at the time. Regret's really not helpful.
No, it doesn't. And it doesn't serve you in any way, right? No. I'll tell you a really funny story about this. My Minnie rang me from her first Bali trip.
Oh, yeah.
Mum, I'm going to get a tattoo. She's already got one, so, and I've got quite a lot, so it's sort of not a judgment thing on her. And I've always said to my kids, it's your body, it's your decision, it's not my choice. And she said, but I want your opinion. And I want you to ask you, am I going to regret getting a spine tattoo?
Yeah.
And I was like, darling, you're talking to a mother that has a dream catcher on her leg.
Yeah.
I
love it.
It's probably not the best person to ask about regret. I don't really do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could have covered it.
You could have.
I could have got rid of it. I could care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a funny little metaphor, I guess, for the fact that it really just doesn't matter.
No.
It's just a thing on my leg.
Yeah, and you did it at the right time, and it was probably the best thing you ever did back then,
And even if it wasn't, who cares?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
What matters, I think, is that you show up for yourself and you learn and you grow.
Yes.
I think that's the most important part, right?
Absolutely.
That even if we haven't done things that served us that well, or we haven't ended up where we've needed to be, that we actually acknowledge it and then find the space to move and grow.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, the word pivot is thrown around like, constantly. And it kind of irks me, the whole word, but there is a point to it, isn't there? That, if you are just kind of going in the one direction and you are linear without all the little jolts to the side and to the left, I'd be so bored. And also I think, it's all those moments where you come to, like the sliding doors metaphor, where you have the option to go one way or another. I just place total faith now that whatever train I've jumped on, it's headed in the right direction. I'm with it. I'm going with it. I just don't try and swim against the tide anymore. I think that's the best way to put it, and it feels really good.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think that listening to that tide is also, it's actually quite hard to do sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to do.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Energy is a really, finite resource. Like we have so much of it, and it can be easily taken for granted and taken advantage of, actually. So we've just got to preserve a little bit of it, I think, and it's a really hard one, but I'm only really starting to practice that mindfully now, and what it looks like when someone's demanding more of me than I'm prepared to give, how I back out of that. Whereas in the past, like you, I would have been the yes girl and just kept going with it and kept swimming against that tide, knowing I wasn't getting anywhere. I was just, paddling on the spot like little duck legs underwater. Now I'm like, no, fuck that. Can't do it. Yeah.
No. Talk to me a little bit. I mean, you have, is it 70 or is it more than that now, brands that you represent?
I don't ever really keep count of it.
No.
It's somewhere between 70 and 90.
Yeah.
I mean, it fluctuates depending on life and what people are doing and where people are going. Obviously, creatives are an interesting bunch of people to work with at the best of times. Some can be quite transient. They come in and they're with you all guns a-blazing, and then 5 minutes later, you don't even know where they've gone. Like you get a bloody postcard from Mexico that says they've joined the cartel. I don't know. All sorts of weird stuff goes on. And then there are some that have been very stable and with me from day dot. Yeah. Between the brands, there would be 70 to 90 actively at any given time. But I'm not monitoring that. I'm not looking at it and going, oh, it's got down to 71. I better add a few more in. It's very organic. People come, people go. Those that stay, fabulous. Those that don't, good luck. It's quite cyclical, I think, and if people aren't getting benefit from being with me, or I'm not getting benefit from being with them, then it's not probably the right partnership. So comes and goes.
And in the process of that, when someone comes to you, you obviously have a gut reaction to what they do. You have an instinct of commercial reality, which I think is actually important, because as much as we just want to follow our hearts forever, we are still running a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's that process like when someone comes to you?
It's a tricky one because we get a crazy sum of applicants every week, which is a combination of trying to slide into the DMs, which actually really annoys me now because that's just more admin work my end. I'd rather people apply officially they should through the website where there's a spot that they can do it, and make it look like they're treating this as a professional transaction rather than someone that, I don't mind if you slide into my DMs or my son slides into them, but when I've got all these hundreds of random people, it stresses me out to look at all these names and go, I don't even know what to do with these people. Yeah. So there's a lot, and my gut instinct is always first and foremost, do I like it? Do I love it? I don't always have to love it, but I need to see it applicable to other people's styles and homes, maybe that are different to mine.
And
so it
to
needs
your
to have
customer, I think,
and to my customer, which it's funny because my customer is not even necessarily, I would explain, as my own style at home. No. It's interesting. But anyway, yes.
But nor it should be, right? Because what I love too about the variety that you have online and the cross-section of prices and mediums and representation of artists, I think, is that you're not trying to impart a look on somebody else.
No.
You actually want them, and you want to encourage them to actively be involved in the decision of their own home.
I do. Right? And even if you hold their hand the whole way, at least they've got that sense of accomplishment at the end, that they've had a say in where that
and it makes their heart skip a beat, right?
I think so.
You're not living in their bedroom or their kitchen.
No, exactly.
So they should love it.
They should love it.
So you don't have to accept that every artist you represent is going to come into your own home.
Oh God, no,
but
absolutely.
You do have a job and a role as a curator.
Yes,
and a style, queen, for a lack of a shitty other way of saying it.
You're a tragic girl.
I'm never going to live that down. No. You do have a responsibility to those people to provide them things that you think are of good value.
Yes.
That will enhance the way that they feel.
100%.
And make their home feel more enjoyable, right?
Absolutely. It's a pretty simple equation. That said, there are commercial realities, and like you say, if I'm looking at somebody that, for instance, I don't know, weaves something and it takes them 3 months to weave one thing, and then I might sell that one thing, and then they might say I now can't weave anything for 4 more years because I'm committed to X, Y, and Z and another exhibition. I'm like, well, Really tricky for me to build momentum with brands when they're that infrequently crossing my path. So I'm now looking beyond just the tangible and the actual end product. I'm actually looking at the individuals, the makers themselves, and looking at how committed are you to this partnership?
Yeah.
And it's not just output, it's not just dollars and cents. It's just, are you committed to jump into this relationship with me? Because I'm going to give you everything I've got, and I don't want to be left high and dry at the altar with, no one to marry. Like it's
Well,
so
there's also a huge amount of energy. Like,
massive,
I
and
have
no one
been at
sees
your
that.
house for a weekend and seen the reality of how much you put into your socials.
Yep.
I can't do it. I freely admit I'm not sure many can. I mean, it is a whole other thing.
It's a beast.
It's a beast, and you are so naturally good at it, but that doesn't mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean it doesn't take so much of your time. And I think it's only fair to then be in control of who you're giving that energy to, right?
100%.
Because why should a brand benefit from that if they're not willing to come to the party as well with the right intentions? And look, we all know intentions can accidentally go the wrong way, or sometimes it doesn't work when the best intentions are there.
Yes.
But it still has to start with the right intention.
It really does. And I guess I'm just too old in the tooth now to be taking on board all of the takers. I want people that are genuinely interested in a two-way partnership so that it works. Because if it's working for them and it's working for me, everyone's going to be happy. And I've got a couple of great case studies in there. You know, I've got one particular artist, I don't think she'd mind me mentioning her, Marcia Priestley. She's been with me maybe for 8 or 9 years. I feel like you've specified her stuff for jobs before.
I've got one on my walls.
Marcia came to me all of those years ago with 2 little daughters, and she'd recently been diagnosed with cancer, and she had decided to paint this series and get it professionally styled and captured to give to her kids should she pass away. God. So tragic, set of circumstances that brought her to me. But long story short, it all got turned on its head in the best possible way. She got cleared. I encouraged her to keep painting. She came to a styling retreat I did. Fast forward 8 or 9 years, Marcia earns a lot more money than I do. She is commercially viable. She has now funded her own beautiful studio in a rural property that is, I would just want to move in there myself. And, you know, people like Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres have swooped in and grabbed 20 originals at, one juncture. She's sold worldwide. Amazing. The girl is kicking goals. And I look at her and I think that's because of your consistency, your dedication, your passion, and she's always treated us in my business as a partner and looks for advice, and I'll listen to her, and it works because we're working together. And I want more of that in my life.
Collaboration.
Yeah, I think the word collab is, used in so many different loose ways, but for me, a true collaboration is something like what I've got with her. So I would rather have less of all the noise and true collaborations, because if I'm going to give my heart and soul to everything, they're the kind of situations that benefit best.
And it doesn't just benefit the artist and you, it benefits the end receiver.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Right? Because they get something really special that's full of emotion.
Yes.
And full of something really positive.
Yeah. And I'm a real storyteller too. And that's what I love about what I do. Yeah. I've always been, that's almost probably my superpower, that I can really understand people's stories and tell them really well. And that translates a lot when it comes to art. So when somebody, walks into the gallery at work, or when somebody just picks up the phone and calls, then I'm so easily able to just absolutely drag them into my world and paint the picture of what it is they're looking at, what it means, how that's going to feel when it's hanging on their walls, just guide them step by step, and it becomes a really beautiful process. But if I can't tell that story, it's just like a gidget, you give me money and I'll give you this, and it's an exchange that's meaningless. So art has so much more to it, which is probably why I've stuck to selling it for so long.
Yeah, and I think too, when you have an online store like you do, and the retail space in Geelong, there's a lot of opportunity for artists to be shown in quite incredible ways. I mean, I remember way back when it was the online store only, and even then the time and energy that you put into sourcing houses and what do they call? I'm having an old person moment. What do you call the places that you hire?
Oh, locations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
went.
Yeah, that's okay.
And locations.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them that you sourced, found the work. I don't think that anyone who isn't in our industry realize how much actually goes into that.
Yeah, that's crazy amount of work.
The stylist life of the finding the stuff, bringing it, making it happen. It's like set design.
Oh, it's an absolute trek. It's trucks. It's
very
lots
physical.
of bodies. It's very physical.
Glorified
furniture removalist. That's I always joked and said that would be on my business card. Yeah.
And I mean, you don't do that much styling anymore. I mean, every now and then you will.
Yeah, you're not a lot of styling per se, because really all of the mastheads and magazines I used to work for have sadly closed their doors. The whole landscape for our area is shifting day by day, and it's like you've got to jog to keep up alongside of it. It's moving that fast. I mean, it's interesting. Our business is a great case study for this, because we did the maths the other day. 95% of what we write in our business, and I mean, I don't take this home, but I'm not speaking outside of school to tell you it's a multi-million-dollar business now. Not saying that to be big-headed, just simply saying the turnover is huge. 95% of that is online.
That's insane.
Now that is people trusting me or trusting us as a business after 15 years of being in the game,
probably a fairly large,
and saying I'm just going to bomb $10,000 on that and trust that they will be beautiful, and they are beautiful. And we've earned that over the 15 years with the credibility of all the things that we've all done to contribute to that level of trust. But the point is, even I think the days of bricks and mortar stores and having concept stores, I thought there were a moment where we were all being drawn back into that, but then of course COVID changed the discourse for everybody. So COVID made everybody very aware that it's fine to sit on your couch and order whatever you want. And if you don't like it, you just send it back anyway, right? So people have become very lazy.
I mean, I have to say I didn't purchase anything online before COVID.
Didn't you?
No, I was a real late comer to the online.
Okay.
No, and I have to say I'm still not great ordering clothes online.
Right,
I'm still probably a dinosaur in that space. Like everyone I know does.
Yeah, I'm good with clothes. I'm less so with, I'm still quite visual with things. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge shopper, full stop. I actually just don't consume much at all. I still go to the grocery store. I'll even go to the local butcher. Like, I do like to support bricks and mortar, but I think the point is for all of us, how we've become accustomed to shopping in our space is very much a changing beast. And there will be some stores that will survive it, but every day, if you look at your socials, there's someone that shut their door for very good reason. So 95% of our business is online. We often scratch our heads and say, what are we doing here? Is this the right move? That amount of outlay to have a physical space, should we be actually pivoting, and should we be popping up in every state across the country every 3 months so that people have more accessibility? So I think it comes back to, again, these personalities like yours and mine don't rest on their laurels. We don't just look at things and go, that's the way you do it. I am slicing and dicing things inside of my head on the daily, looking at the best way to get the result I want. And I think that by doing that, things constantly change. Like, nothing stays the same in my world from week to week.
And I think it's only going to get faster, right? Because AI is really shifting things, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've got clients now sending, photos of art in their own space. Like, they're just taking a photo of a room I've already completed, and maybe the art's still the last piece to go in or whatever, and they're just whacking it in and sending it over. And and I did try the other day to get it to design me a kitchen, because I just wanted to see where we were sitting in that space. And I sort of put in the mood boards and, put in the bed and said, and look, I wouldn't be going out and doing it in a hurry yet, but it's also really new. But I think and there are certain elements to maybe doing the mood boards or I think there's certain elements in all industries that are benefiting from it at the moment. But I still think that human touch, that understanding of the people that live there, or understanding the person who's buying the art, is still relatively important. But it's an interesting one with the bricks and mortar. I mean, I was lucky enough to collaborate with you on your bricks and mortar. It was an incredible privilege. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the word colour yet, which is outrageous.
How have we not done that? That's like my whole brand hat.
Considering you are just all about colour.
Yeah.
But it's very rare as a designer that you get to be so colourful or so bold or so textural and to pattern play and to put everything into one space. And retail and commercial obviously allows that more than residential a little bit anyway.
Sure.
And then you are so brave and bold in that space anyway. But so we had a lot of fun doing that.
Oh my God. That was just the best experience working. I mean, and it could have gone the other way working with one of your besties, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but
and two very opinionated
we're
people.
both relatively headstrong. But do you know what? What I loved about that process is how complementary we were together. I think that we both knew what our strengths and weaknesses were, and we really combined those together so beautifully.
It was a really fun
It was fun and it was bold, but I tell you what, the end result, I wish you could have heard it as often as I do, but the way your designs shifted people's insides on the daily. Like for the first year, people would walk in and not be able to talk. Like there were no words. They would stand there and it's like it was ethereal for them. They felt like they'd been transported to some other land. And I used to just watch their faces. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about that. It's a privilege to move people like that through what you've done. And
well, you as well. It's a combination of the design, but it's also the styling as well. Like, I mean, there's so much of walking and, you know, that was your number one thing to me. You said, I want people to walk in and feel like they're at home.
Yes.
I want to show people how you can feel
at home.
Your home.
Yeah. We're all about the reality. You know, I don't think like pretty showrooms that aren't really livable spaces necessarily help people make good, educated choices about what they want to live with. So you absolutely nailed that part of the brief. But I also think it's funny you say colour and how have we not talked about it. As much as Greenhouse, the HQ, is colourful, it's so Jess colour. And you took me
dirty colours of the world.
You took me to the dirty part of the world. No, not at all. I've always loved those colours. But I remember distinctly a moment at GT&B, the tile place that we used, the supplies were wonderful, and you pulled out like this cherry red tile, and I just looked at you and said, Jess, I don't do red, and you know that. And you said, no, you were about to love it. And I just thought, I'm not, who am I to argue with this girl? Like, she is the queen of texture, colour, and I'm just going to bow down right now. And I did. And it's such a good choice. And you were ahead of your time, because that cherry red tile is what we see on every second carousel now on Instagram. And that was 5 years ago you pulled that out. And that's because you choose timeless things. You really do.
Well, I think the colours that I'm drawn to are derivatives of nature. So, you know, and it's the same with you. And therefore they are always around us and then can be integrated. But I still follow along on your Instagram, and I still watch your masterclasses, and I still listen quite intently, because I am also guilty of not pushing always into colour. I do sometimes find that because I don't always have a client coming that's just coming for colour. Like you, that is your thing, right? So people come to you and they're already in for
sometimes
colour,
they're not. Sometimes they're just so scared. They want it. They've looked at it.
You and
they've kind of danced around the edge. Yeah, no, I've really, really got to push them right into the centre of it. Like, and when I say that,
I just assumed they were coming hot and ready to go.
No, not at all. There's a lot of coercion on the side. And in fact, I think it's super important that people understand that whoever's listening, just because I love colour, it doesn't mean I like bright lollipop colours only.
No,
like I don't.
Your house is colourful but refined
I'm very,
and timeless. It's
very
not
earthy
like,
in my house, like
100%.
very nature. Yeah. Like I really am surrounded by beech and gums and all the native stuff. So, and that comes right in. And you're the same. But I think when people think colour, they want it, and they're looking at what I'm doing or what you're doing and saying, but how do I get it? But it doesn't mean that you can't do a beautiful natural palette of, you know, creams and beige and olives. I can't even believe I just said the word beige.
I know.
I don't usually say it, but
use it.
No, but like with olives and burnt, you know, oranges and like all those beautiful colours, like tempered beautifully together, are just as equally brilliant and colourful as what something, you know, I think there's a natural tendency for people to just put me in a pigeonhole with colour and go, bright vomit colour, and it's not that at all.
No.
It's just I lean to the emotion behind colour. I don't lean to the emotion behind white. That's all.
And look, if someone loves minimal and start, great, and that's fine. And I like it in certain situations as well. And sometimes I look at Australia has some of the best architectural firms in the country, and
100%.
some of them are quite refined. Some of them are really bold, but some of them are quite refined. And I do still look at their work and think that is spectacular. But I know I can't live there.
Yep.
But I understand that people want to.
Yes.
But for me, I think the most important thing is that it's about what makes you feel comfortable, right? So for me and you, we live at the beach.
Yeah.
We're always outside. We're always with nature. And any spare moment we have, we're outside. So I think for us to bring that inside makes us feel safe.
Yes.
So I just want people, and I think it's what you want as well, just to encourage them to understand what it is that does make them feel safe and what does make them feel like themselves. And I know you're a really big advocate like I am in getting rid of this story that we can't do that because it's not right for resale.
Oh, I can't stand that story. Drives me bonkers. And the other important thing to say before we even talk about resale, I think we can't look at colour in isolation. I don't think we can look at colour as just a subject into its own, because it's got to be layered in with texture. It's got to be layered in with materiality. It's got to be layered in with the quantity of colour and how much of it is used and where it's used. There are so many other parts of the equation as to whether you're going to be able to pull colour off or not. So I don't want people to ever just think, oh, I want colour but I'm scared of it because I don't know how to do it. Well, that's totally fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a dentist. I don't know how to fix people's teeth, right? We've all got our skills and strengths. But what I do think people need to do is understand that it's not just a one-trick pony and that you've got to – that's why people like you and I will probably always be employed, because we understand how intricate all those layers on top of each other matter to pull off something that is a considered outcome.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. There are so many pieces to that puzzle.
There are.
It's not just as simple as choosing a paint colour and then hoping that the colour's going to work.
Absolutely.
And what I find interesting and what I've learnt over the years is that, we do those things like strategy sessions where people who aren't engaging someone like myself or you in the full capacity because they just are going to run out of money at somewhere. So we try and limit our services and offer different solutions. And I know you guys are really good at that as well. But for me, it's much easier to do that with a limited palette than when you start bringing colour into the equation, because I've done a strategy session for someone who said not a single white wall and not a single white thing. And it was much, much harder to do that in the same time as it was to give a textured, rusty, earthy,
that's time.
deliverable.
That's time and money.
It's time and money. Yeah. So I think, but I don't think that should put people off either, because if you do the work and you do the pinning and you work out what it is, then it is easier to do. But if you come in really cold to that experience, I think it's really difficult for us to deliver it quicker.
Yes.
Interesting.
And it is interesting that, you've got to really teach people the value of patience and that their home will always evolve. It's not a static thing that just stops, and it might take from the time you engage with them 2-3 years to even get to a place where you're reasonably happy. I don't believe in going out with a shopping trolley and just throwing absolutely everything into it to fit out the house. And I know there are people that do it, but it's not my jam. It's definitely not your jam. We are making good, considered decisions along the way to help people feel comfortable without rushing them, Rome was not built in a day is my favourite old saying. So I just ask people, please be patient as we layer this home together, and we will be so happy with the end result, and we won't have made mistakes because mistakes cost money.
That's right.
So let's just do it quietly
100%.
together.
I could not agree more. And I always say to people too, you're building or renovating a new house, the temptation to just fill it and get it done is always there. But you don't know how the new house is going to respond.
No.
You don't know where the light comes in. You don't know where your favourite alcove is. You don't know everything the house has yet to deliver.
Yeah.
So, do the bits that you don't want to come back at. Do the bones, do the floor, do the joint, do those things, because coming back at them is a nightmare.
Absolutely.
But leave space for the house to grow. Leave space for you to grow in the house.
Yes.
And yesterday I was at a house I started 10 years ago. Now, there was a good chunk of 5 years in the middle where I didn't do anything there, but I did quite a lot of work in the beginning.
Yes.
And did quite a lot of decorating in the beginning, all the lighting and key furniture pieces and, all of the major dining chairs and the main bit of art over the lounge room,
How lovely to revisit though.
It's so nice to go back.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I hadn't done the original kitchen design. I'd done all the materiality and all of the furniture and lighting and things, but I'd come in quite late to the project. And they actually decided after 10 years that they didn't like the island and that they wanted it to be something different. So we reimagined that for them when we've come back recently. And then they've also wanted to put a second Christopher Boots light in the front window and another armchair, just a few bits, because they decided that corner of the room was actually really magical.
Oh, I love that.
And then they just come back and added to that space because they have worked out that that's a really important space for them. So I like room to grow in a house.
Me too. They're tweaks. They're just really measured tweaks, which are really beautiful.
And when you travel or you bump into a gallery or you stumble across something. I mean, do you remember I carried that glass vessel for like 6 weeks in my hand luggage through Europe and didn't want to because I was so obsessed with it. I mean, it was hand luggage.
I know.
Just for an absurd amount of time just to bring it home. But I encourage people to do that, to make their homes an expression of their journey through life. And life didn't happen in 5 minutes with an interior designer.
No, it didn't. And we talk about interior designers, but it's also about don't forget outside. I mean, I had this amazing conversation recently with Tate, who are my favourite outdoor suppliers, I guess. I use them all the time. And we were just saying how it breaks your heart when you go to a home and you can see that, it's done, it's finished-ish. It still obviously needs, a little bit of personality or whatever. And you look outside and it's just dirt and they've run out of money. And it's like, oh, that kills my insides because I really think outside is just as important as inside. And when I get a project, even though they've engaged, whether it be me, to style their interiors, I'm like, can we just talk about outside for a little minute? Yeah, I think they really are. They've got to be kumbaya together, don't they? They've got to be singing that same song. And it breaks my heart when I see people run out of money for that or for lighting. They're my two bugbears.
As you know, I've pivoted the business from just interior design because I was so sick of this exact thing. Because if you do it the drive from where we are and you leave at 6 o'clock or 6:30, you're just fucked. You just might as well spend 2.5 hours in the car. And I refuse. I refuse to give the car. I just won't do it. No. So I set my alarm for 10 to 5. I had the car packed already. Hightailed it out at 5:10, made it to Collingwood Core Plus at 6:40. 1 hour and 32 minutes
Unheard of.
to door.
Unheard of.
The new tunnel. There was not one fucking car.
Adam said do the tunnel and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do the tunnel. But it's just...
It was incredible. I was like in that Croy Creek Road shit show, that bit that always goes in that drive in. And then all of a sudden I was in the tunnel and then I was in North Melbourne and then I was in Collingwood. I'm like,
wow, I might do the tunnel on the way home.
It was so good. It was so good. 1 hour and 32 minutes from Jan Juck to Collingwood.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
I mean, it was, early and I'm sure that doesn't work. But to be able to go and
that's
do
like
a
the
yoga
old days
class before I start this
Do you
mayhem.
do Core Plus in Torquay?
Well, I've only just started. So as you know, I have my yoga membership, but I have a torn rotator cuff, a frozen shoulder, bursitis and tendon displacement in my right shoulder.
God,
and for 8 months, I just cannot. I mean, it's so much better now. Like I can move it, but I could not even lift my arm like past that point for like 6 months. I've had every injection, every steroid, every treatment, and it won't fix. So yoga was really difficult because obviously so much is that grounding down on your shoulder. But I've worked out how to sort of practice around it. But I was finding also too that I'm here in Melbourne quite a bit now. And I quite like the balance of being there and being here. So I'm sort of in Melbourne 3 days a week. And then, so it wasn't working for me to have a membership anywhere.
Yeah, not getting most of it.
I just do ClassPass.
Yeah.
And so that's this morning,
good.
It just allowed me to rock up and I just put in where I'm going to be, shows me all the options. And I was like, oh, that class is great. I'll go there.
perfect.
It was amazing. Yeah, so I wholeheartedly agree with you. If we need to get to a point, though, where we are spending and committing to spending a little bit more money upfront to get the answers properly before we start.
Yeah.
Because there is no point doing your dream home, going to an architect or a drafty, getting the plans, going to council, if you don't know the whole story. Because the number of times that then comes to me and you then pick your fridges and realise the window's in the wrong spot because the fridge doesn't fit, or, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of problem solving. And again, that's time and money.
Yeah, and if you just spend, like we're working on with a new client started this week, I just am really blunt now about the process. If you want to work with us, this is the way we do it. We don't do it to be blunt or rude. We do it to save you money.
Yes.
Because if you're doing a major overhaul of your house, if you spend between 10 and 15,000 at the beginning, nutting out your options, looking at your floor plans, having the builder involved, checking the structural stuff, doing all of the problem solving in the beginning, and having all of your options, and then proceeding, that is the cheapest way to save money. If you are 200, I can't even tell you how many hundreds of thousands, so many projects that I go and fix are over their budget.
Yeah.
If it is just not expensive to spend $10,000 if you save $250,000.
Totally.
And we need to change that language, and we need to make people understand that those consultancy fees up front will stop you sitting in dirt.
Absolutely.
Will stop you having all of these moments. And it might not actually, because there are still quite a few houses that I've worked at that have run out of money and it has all been value added and managed, but they have made decisions internally that they won't compromise on. And that's fine, because then it was a choice.
Yes.
And it is about the choice.
It is about the choice. You're right.
And if you can get to the end of your project and know that you chose that path, or that was a decision you were comfortable with, it's a whole lot less bitter than getting to the end of the project with 15 fuck thises.
Yeah, and just so many other mistakes made on top of other mistakes. It's just a pyramid of mistakes. It's a disaster.
Okay, now I want to just ask you a couple of rapid fire questions.
Oh, go for it.
Yes. What is one thing you're actively working on yourself personally at the moment?
Well, I've joined Pilates and am practicing that 6 times a week, which is a new thing for me. It's a lot of Pilates, but I absolutely love it. And it started from, this is funny because these are rapid fire questions and I'm giving you an essay.
They never are. It's actually quite comical that anything I do is rapid.
Yeah, that's true. But I was invited to a class and they said you have to put your phone under the bed. And I thought, well, that's great. For an hour I don't have to listen to anyone. No one can find me. I'm just this invisible person on this reformer bed. And I loved my anonymity that much that I'm like, I hate exercise. I'm like, I'm coming back again just so I can stick that phone under the bed. So I started out with for the wrong reasons, and now I'm so hooked on how that physicality makes me feel at the end. Yeah, I just feel completely, I really don't feel like I've ever felt this strong physically. So, and it's also had a ripple-on effect mentally. So Pilates is now non-negotiable, and so nobody's allowed to mess with my Pilates plan. So if someone says, like, even if you said to me, if it wasn't an emergency, darling, I really want to meet you for a coffee at 6 o'clock. I'm so sorry, I can't. I don't even tell people why. I just can't.
Great.
But then if you said I'm dying, I'd drop Pilates and I'd come to you. Just letting you know.
I'm not dying. But no, I 100% agree. That time for me in the morning is sometimes I'm in Mount Hotham or I'm wherever, and we have moments where we can't because our work. But if you can 80 to 90% of the time hold that space for yourself daily, I do really feel like what you've said about the ripple effect is everything.
Yeah, I think so.
One little bit. On top of one little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I like that a lot. Tell me what your definition of home is.
Home is just where I feel safe and I actually don't need to talk to anybody. Isn't that ridiculous?
I love that.
I mean, which is terrible because my family probably are not getting the best end of me, but I literally what did my mother say? You could talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles. So I do a lot of talking and I'm paid to talk.
10,000 words a minute, I'd say.
There's a lot. I could probably even outbeat you, I reckon. I could probably do 11,000. Watch me go. So there's a lot of talking, a lot of energy expended. So when I come home, I just want to shut that big front door of mine and open up all the other side doors, let the ocean noises in, hug my dog, my family, whoever's home, and just feel completely safe and at ease to just rinse the day off. Yeah, I feel really home is super important to me. I'm a true Cancerian. I have been building cubbies, shops and homes from the time I could walk and talk. And Mum always said, she went to pick me up from kinder one day and the lady said, do you realise your daughter, I was 3, just draws houses every day? And Mum said, oh, and she said she's either really unhappy at home or really happy. And Mum said, I can assure you she's happy, but I have had an obsession and an absolute thing with houses and home and security my whole entire life. It's not new.
No, I love that. I think it's just in you, inherently in you. And this is not a rapid fire question. We're going to go totally off on a tangent, but that's us. So you just mentioned your beautiful mum. I do just really want to quickly talk about that.
Oh, yep.
Gorgeous Jilly mum.
Yes.
It hasn't been easy for her in the last however long. Cancer, hit by a garbage truck.
Yes.
Nearly died.
Yes.
Leg amputated.
Yes.
There's been some really intense moments for you and
Shocking.
her.
Yeah.
And she is still the happiest person I know, I think.
I don't think I've heard her whinge once in 8 years since she had her leg.
I know.
Lost
Even
her leg.
when straight after the accident I spoke to her, there were a million reasons for her to be grumpy.
She'll have a joke with you and go, oh, I'm legless today, and off she goes. I mean, it's actually she turns
the most positive person I've ever met.
She just turns things into a joyous and humorous outlook and makes everything feel better. And it's her sunny disposition. It's just who she is. She's not trying to be that way.
Really
she just
nice
is
to
that
be
way.
her daughter.
It's a privilege because she's taught me really all the important values and things. And my life could have been in a completely different direction if I didn't have her guiding me by the side. So I never take it for granted because I know I'm not. I'm.
But
a lot of my
come
girlfriends
so
haven't.
close to losing her, and you've had some really tough moments in your life.
But even if I hadn't have come
well.
close to losing her, I'm just lucky that we have always been close. And not everybody, it's not the God-given right that just because you have a mum or a dad, you're going to be close to them. So I know how fortunate I am. We're more like friends really than mum-daughter. Like I would choose to travel with her. I would choose to hang out with her. I do choose to spend time with her over, you know, the people that might go, oh, I've got to have my mother over for dinner tonight. I'm like, oh, Jilly Ma's coming. Let's crack the champus. You know,
she
like
shows
it's
up
exciting.
for you in all the best possible ways, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we've had our moments where things haven't always been like, you know, rosy, but that's the one thing she's always done. I always felt like she trusted me with everything. I was never judged. It's a really like incredible thing. You know, she from even as a teenager when kids were making ratty choices and, you know, trying to disappear out of houses in the middle of the night off to nightclubs, and she'd say to me, I know you're going, but all I ask is that you tell me that you're going and you ring me if there's a problem and I will be there in 5 minutes. But she was always just, she said she just trusted me, and I never, touch wood, I didn't make any silly decisions because I think I always felt like, oh, she really trusts me here. I better do the right thing.
Well, also too, I think when you're entrusted with that, you often don't.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've seen that with my own kids. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And we're going to wrap stuff off, but I've got one more question for you. If you were going to give any, young person a bit of advice about following their heart and going on their own journey, it's a loaded question because that's a very big question, but what would it be? What would you say to someone who was going to take a leap of faith?
It's a tricky one because I think it depends on your personality and how you interpret this is up to you. For me, in life, nothing has ever just fallen in my lap. I have gone and chased down, hunted down every single opportunity that has come my way. And people will look at it from the outside and say, she just looks lucky. Like she look, she went from that to that to that. And in some kind of ways, there was definitely luck involved, and there were lots of those sliding doors moments, particularly the very beginning one where I ran into a photographer who said I shouldn't be selling drugs, I should be styling, and the rest is history.
Sure, but there's also a lot
But I also worked out all the things along the way very quickly, that I used all of my past experience and just aptitude really, and thought, okay, if I'm going to apply all of what I do know into this, what are the gaps? How am I going to chase them down? How am I going to find them? And so there was quite a strategic plan, really, when I think about it, behind a lot of the decisions that I've made along the way. You know, thought has gone into them. I make it look like I just ran into that and fell into that. And I kind of did, but then there was strategy around, oh God, now I'm here. I better figure this out. So my advice to people is don't wait. Just don't sit around going longingly, oh, I want to be this, but it's going to be too hard and I won't get into that uni course and I'm not smart enough to do that. And I mean, all of that does not matter one single iota. If you want something badly enough, you will get it. So I'm the Nike girl. Like if Nike ever needed a brand ambassador, I swear to God I should have had my mug on their T-shirts. I'm a just do it girl. Like I don't talk about shit. I get shit done. And you do too. So that's probably why we get along so well.
Well, I'm so grateful that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to me. I love you as always.
I love you as always too. Now we'll turn the microphones off and sit
keep
here for another 6 hours.
Thanks, darling.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.